When we think of helicopters, most imagine a fairly small aircraft that provides air support and is lightly armed. But the Soviet Union was different. Pushed by a need to create an all-purpose monster, they built this. But just how insane is this helicopter? What can it do? How does it compare to the almighty Apache? And, crazily enough, is it possible for you to get one? Smash that like button and stay tuned as we explore the Soviet monster that gave the world a heart attack. To put it simply, this is the story of how the Soviet Union created a flying tank, mocked in the West until it began rampaging across battlefields. Now, I know that sounds comical, but the Mi-24 Hind was a helicopter so violent and absurd that it utterly changed warfare. To understand how this beast was born, we must go back to one of the worst wars in human history. Every history buff knows the story. The unstoppable German blitzkrieg tore through Europe, and the Soviet Union was on the brink of collapse. Just when it seemed over, an ungodly mix of overstretched supply lines, brutal winters, and relentless Soviet resistance turned what appeared to be an inevitable German victory into a crushing defeat. But the Soviets barely survived that storm, and when things settled down, they vowed never to be caught off guard again. They needed something quick, something lethal, something that could drop troops into battle while providing cover fire, like a god of war descending from the sky. That was the beginning of the dream for a multi-role gunship, a machine that transported soldiers and blasted the enemy to dust simultaneously. This wouldn't be just a helicopter you mentioned as mere support. It became the fight itself. At the heart of this dream was Mikhail Mil, a genius who would revolutionize both Soviet and military aviation. He had already achieved success with the Mi-8, a durable and versatile transport helicopter that could handle various tasks, except obliterating enemy targets. Observing his creation, Mil recognized its potential for combat and thought, why not turn the reliable, battle-tested Mi-8 into an advanced war machine? And by God, what he created truly shocked the world. His plan was simple: upgrade the helicopter so it would retain its cargo-carrying abilities, while integrating a fearsome arsenal of machine guns, rockets, and anti-tank missiles. Fully aware of modern warfare's brutality, he decided that this helicopter should be armored, making it more of a tank than a helicopter. What he produced was unprecedented, a deadly matrimony of troop transport and gunship capabilities. He had designed a flying tank, the Mi-24. You might think that with something so dangerous, everyone would take him seriously. Surprisingly, when the West learned of this Frankenstein of destruction, they simply dismissed it. Attack helicopters were supposed to be thin, mean, and designed for one purpose: to kill. The Mi-24, with its bulky body and troop-carrying design, appeared to be a lumbering, muddled attempt to do too much. Yet, as the saying goes, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And that dismissive attitude eventually came back to haunt them in the form of a Soviet-designed monster. Sadly, in 1970, just before his creation was put to the test, the man behind it all, Mikhail Mil, died. He never lived to see the machine that would define him. Thankfully, his team forged ahead, and the Mi-24 went into full production. Soon enough, the world saw just how terribly wrong they had been. When completed, the Mi-24 wasn't just a helicopter, it was a beast in the sky, a flying fortress with the firepower of a gunship and the muscle to carry troops into battle. Imagine something as long as a city bus, but instead of hauling commuters, it packed missiles, rockets, and a machine gun that could shred anything in its path. At 57 feet long, this aircraft's hulking presence was no joke, dwarfing sleek Western attack helicopters like the Apache. Unlike those single-purpose warbirds, the Mi-24 wasn't just there to hunt, it was there to carry the fight, literally, with room for 80 fully armed troops in its belly. Perhaps one of the strangest things about this helicopter was its wings. These stubby wings didn't just hold weapons, they provided additional lift, making this war machine faster than most helicopters its size. Nicknamed the Crocodile by Soviet crews for its scaly green camouflage and predatory profile, this beast didn't just look menacing, it delivered. Armed with a 12.7mm Yak-B rotary machine gun, it spits out bullets at 4,500 rounds per minute, shredding infantry and unarmored vehicles. But that's just the appetizer. Strapped to its stubby wings are rocket pods and anti-tank missiles capable of reducing enemy positions to rubble from miles away. And as if that wasn't enough, the Mi-24P variant replaces the chin gun with a monstrous 30mm cannon. Imagine a handheld sniper rifle scaled up to fire explosive rounds the size of soda bottles. This monster didn't just dole out pain, it could also take it. Bulletproof glass shields the cockpit, self-sealing fuel tanks prevent fires, and its titanium-plated body shrugs off small arms fire like a heavyweight boxer ignoring jabs. Nicknamed the Hind by NATO or Flying Tank by the Russians, its first major test came during the Soviet-Afghan War. Initially, it was a nightmare for insurgents. The Mi-24 swooped into battle, landing troops and raining destruction with its formidable firepower. Of course, war is the ultimate test. While the Hind proved its worth, it also revealed weaknesses. Its size and weight made it less maneuverable in the treacherous Afghan mountains, and although the armor was tough, it couldn't withstand the rise of portable anti-air missiles. Soviet pilots quickly realized that flying a Hind was not just about brute strength, it was also about tactics, adaptability, and timely upgrades. Even with these challenges, the Mi-24 proved itself. It became a symbol of Soviet military prowess, an aircraft that soldiers feared and pilots respected. Over the years, it was modified, enhanced, and exported worldwide. It was no longer just a helicopter. It became a symbol of air warfare. Today, it still stands as one of the most recognizable combat-ready aircraft ever built. So, how does it fare against the almighty Apache? Well, let's start with speed. The Mi-24 Hind is a beast in terms of raw velocity, clocking in at around 335 kilometers or 208 miles per hour. That's not just fast for an attack chopper, it's fighter jet speed for a machine its size. It was built to storm in, unleash hell, and exit before anyone could react. In contrast, the Apache is slower at about 293 kilometers or 182 miles per hour. But here's the thing, it wasn't designed to be a sprinter. It's built for precision and control, taking its time to set up the perfect shot. If speed were the only factor, the Hind would win. In a real fight, however, precision often trumps raw power. Now, speaking of precision, let's talk firepower. The Mi-24 is a flying tank armed to the teeth. A 12.7mm Gatling gun or a 30mm cannon along with rocket pods and anti-tank guided missiles. It was designed not just to destroy targets but to overwhelm them completely. The Apache, meanwhile, is like a sniper in the sky. It carries a 30mm chain gun, 16 Hellfire missiles with laser or radar guidance, and Hydra rockets. Essentially, the Hind brings brute force while the Apache is built for surgical strikes. In chaotic battle, the Hind can saturate an area with firepower, but in a one-on-one fight, the Apache's pinpoint accuracy may give it the edge. Next, consider armor. The Hind truly earns its nickname the Flying Tank, with titanium steel plating capable of stopping 20mm rounds. It survived countless hits in real combat and still returned home. The Apache, however, has lighter armor, designed to resist smaller rounds. It relies on avoiding detection with advanced sensors and countermeasures. In terms of pure survivability, the Hind wins, but if survival is about not getting hit in the first place, the Apache holds an advantage. Then there's maneuverability. The Hind is big, heavy, and built more like a fast-moving warplane than a nimble attack chopper. It's incredible in a straight-line charge, but don't expect it to dance in tight spaces. The Apache was built for agility. It can hover, weave through obstacles, and execute quick turns. In a dogfight, the Apache's ability to outmaneuver the Hind could be a game-changer. Have these two ever actually clashed? Not really. There are no confirmed battles between the Mi-24 and the AH-64. However, during the Iran-Iraq War, Iraqi Hinds faced off against Iranian AH-1 Cobras. Despite being older than the Apache, those Cobras managed to outmaneuver and take down the bigger Hinds. This suggests that in an Apache versus Hind fight, agility and precision might just trump brute force. Ultimately, it comes down to who is doing the flying. So, who takes the crown? It depends on the battle. In a long-range engagement, the Apache's Hellfire missiles and radar make it a deadly predator in the sky. In a close-quarters slugfest, the Hind's armor and sheer firepower could bulldoze through the enemy. Either way, both helicopters are legendary in their own right, and the real winner is whoever's flying them. The Hind's track record of breaking records is undeniable. Besides being the first true attack helicopter capable of carrying troops, it was once the fastest attack helicopter in the world. In 1978, test pilot Grugan Karapetyan set a world helicopter speed record with a modified Mi-24A, reaching 368.4 kilometers or 229 miles per hour, a record that stood for over a decade. But beyond its sheer power, there's something almost mythical about the Mi-24. Pilots like Soviet-era test pilot Galina Rastorgayeva describe the Hind as having a living, almost instinctive presence or soul. One Russian female pilot in a 2010 documentary even described it as a dragon that trusts you if you respect it. So, what happened when this dragon went to war? The Mi-24 Hind became a legend during the Soviet-Afghan War, earning the nickname Devil's Chariot from the Mujahideen. And remarkably, decades later, the Mi-24 remains in use, even in Ukraine as of 2022. Perhaps the strangest part is that if you want to own one, you can, although it's expensive. A wrecked operational Mi-24 can cost about $4 million, and fully operational Hinds are even pricier. Keep in mind, however, that purchasing an Mi-24 is not simple, as ownership is subject to strict legal regulations and export controls. So, what do you think? Is the Mi-24 Hind the true flying tank that revolutionized modern warfare? Or was it simply a product of Soviet ambition? Who do you believe would win in a fight between the Hind and an Apache? And would you buy one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, please like the video if you enjoyed it. If you're fascinated by legendary aircraft, by those that shaped history, and by the untold stories of combat aviation, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more thrilling tales from the skies where firepower, innovation, and legacy collide. Stay curious, keep soaring, and as always, we'll see you in the skies.